guys, it's Emily, and today I'm here to bring you a brief recent reads video, and I wanted to start out by talking about my last book for nonfiction November, which was Interior Castle by St. Teresa of Avila, because Angela specifically mentioned she wanted to hear about it. This ended up being like a difficult read for me. I read a chapter a day by design, and it goes through 7 mansions, and so each mansion has several chapters, so it takes, almost a whole month to read it. And a lot of us discussing like visions that you have when you get into the later mansions, when you're becoming closer to God. And I literally have never had any kind of vision, and I don't know anyone who's ever had a kind of vision that she's describing. So it's very far from my experience, and I didn't really understand a lot of it. And there were several chapters where I read it and then I went back and reread the chapter just because I didn't really get what she was trying to say. And then she has this very annoying quality of being like, oh, but I'm not worth very much, and my opinion doesn't matter. And I know this was published in 1588, which is when, women were a lot lower in status than they are now, but it just got on my nerves. And then she also makes negative references to disabled people, which again, 1588, that wasn't a bad thing, but nowadays it just seems very not very Christian-like at all, and very out of place in the message that she's bringing. So I don't really recommend this. I mean, I'm glad I read it just so I understand the references to it, and because it's such an important book in the Christian faith. And but on the whole, I didn't really get that much out of it comparatively, and I don't really recommend it, and which is very sad to say, but yeah, glad to have finally read this. Then I finished a book on the first day of December. I finished 'Tis the Season by Lorna Landvik. I started this on the evening of November 30th, and then it was such an easy read, I had finished it up by the end of December 1st. And this is an epistolatory novel, and it's detailing the life of Caroline Dixon, and she is a very wealthy lady who has a bad reputation. She's an alcoholic, and so for the first part of the book, she's getting drunk, and there's gossip columns talking about her, and just her friendships are being broken off because of her behavior, and she has a Halloween party and nobody comes because she's offended all her friends. And then as it goes on, she goes to rehab, and then she gets out, and it's about her reconnecting to people from her childhood that helped her feel loved back then, because she had a really rough childhood. And it's just a really sweet and quick book, because it's letters. The letters don't take up much that room, so and then some of them are the whole page, but most of them are just really short, and there's wide margins, so it's not it's not even, it's 270 pages, I think. Even, 226 pages. So it's a short book, and then it doesn't have much text on each page. So yeah, this was a really quick read, and it was cute, and I would recommend it if you could get your hands on a copy from the library or anything. This was a gift from Elizabeth and from Lindsay Bigelow's books, and I really enjoyed it. And Elizabeth knows that I love epistolatory novels, so yeah, I'm really glad she sent me this. Thanks, Elizabeth. It was a really great read. And then finally, I read Skipping Christmas by Grisham. This was another book that I started and finished in 24 hours. I think I started this one on December 2nd and finished it by December 3rd. It was just a really quick book as well. Unfortunately, I didn't really like this one. I think when I talked about this in my TBR, I was actually describing the plot of the movie Four Christmases, and not Christmas with the Cranks, which is the movie that this is based on. This is about a couple. What are their names? Luther and Nora Crank, and they have always been really into Christmas, and they've done huge Christmas party every year, and a big tree and a snowman on the top of their house, and they get really into it. And then the day after Thanksgiving, their daughter Blair leaves to go be in the Peace Corps for a year. And so they decide they're going to take a cruise instead of celebrating Christmas the traditional way. And so the first part of the book is about how their neighbors and their friends and their co-workers are very shocked that they're not celebrating Christmas, and they're sort of trying to pressure them into it, which is ridiculous in itself, because who would really care about that? Like, why would you care if your neighbor wasn't celebrating Christmas? Like, it's not that big of a deal. But then, in the last part of the book, it's Blair calls them. It's like, hey, I've decided the Peace Corps isn't for me. I've met this guy in orientation, and I've decided I'm going to get married. So me and my fiance that you've never met are coming home for Christmas. And she calls them on Christmas Eve. And I don't have anything set up because, again, they're meant to be leaving on a cruise. And so they have to cancel their cruise, and they have to, like, run around like mad people, trying to set everything up in 24 hours. And it just, I didn't really, like, for one thing, it doesn't seem very realistic. And for another thing, the moral of promoting, you know, the fact that you don't need all this fancy Christmas stuff to be celebrating the true meaning of Christmas isn't really played out very well with the ending. And I don't know, I didn't really enjoy this at all. And I only gave it 2 stars. And I actually thought about DNFing it, because it was so annoying, like the neighbors were being really annoying. And then when Blair calls, it was like, oh my goodness, really? She's only been gone for a month? And she's like out of college. She's like 22 or 23 years old, so it's not like she's a young girl. And like the fact that she decides she's going to marry this guy she just met, and like the whole thing was just really ridiculous. And I don't recommend this, and I don't think I'm going to re-watch the movie at all. I just didn't really care, and yeah, I don't recommend this. I mean, it was a quick read, like I said, but I don't really consider it worth your time, so I would give this a pass. So, those are the 3 books that I finished in the first part of December and the last part of November. Yeah, I had a really great reading week, and I'm making good progress on my holiday book bingo. And yeah, I've also been watching some movies. I watched the National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, and I watched The Grinch, which is my favorite. And yeah, just really having a great Christmassy time, and having some really great Christmassy reading going on. I hope everybody's having a great day, and you're enjoying some holiday books, if that's your thing. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!